Oh dear. What's that? I Okay, stay here. All right. Here we go. Let's see if we can make a recording. Let's start with just the basics of your paper, which are the parts. Okay, so the first part that you want is going to be a cover page. So on your cover page, you'll come around third down and center it, and you'll write the name of your project. I'm going to do Sleeping Beauty and Feminism. Okay, so I have a story and I have and then we're going to write by Sharon Sewer. And then we're going to go down to the bottom. Near the bottom, we're going to justify this to the right, and we're going to write the name of the course. So here it's going to just be Native Speaker English and a date, June 2024. That's my first page, my cover page. Now I'm going to my next page. I'm going to go back to my regular alignment to the left. And notice at the top we have normal, no spacing, heading 1, heading 2, title. Anything I write as a heading, I can later make into a table of contents. So just keep that in mind. Here my second page is going to be a table of contents, right? The first page was the cover page. Now just hold off on the table of contents. We'll do that later. Just save it a page. And now we're on the next page. Now our first heading, I'm going to write heading 1 is going to be the introduction. Notice it's a different font. It automatically made it a heading, and anything I write as a heading, whether heading 1 or heading 2, it will appear later in my table of contents. Okay, now in my introduction, I'm going to say, right, in this paper, I will learn about whatever your topic is and see how it enhances my understanding of the short story with the name of the short story, and you'll go on and talk about, let's see, the topic is important to me because, right, let's see, I grew up on, let's see, fairy tales, right, before feminism, and I'm going to go on and say why it's important for me. Okay, and then the other thing you're going to have in your introduction is a summary of the story. Okay, the story, right, Snow White is about. Okay, now this whole section together might be something like 100 words, right? Maybe 30 or 40 words, maybe about 20 or 30 words on what you want to learn, another 20, 30 words why it's important, another 50, 70, 80 words on the synopsis of the story. Now, the next sections are going to be the content, what you learned from your sources. For example, I read some sources about feminism and the story of Snow White. Some of them talked about Snow White herself. Some of them talked about the evil stepmother. I also thought about the movie Snow White, the animation. And so from my reading, I would come up with some subtopics, right? One would be Snow White. One would be, okay, and I'm making this a heading, evil stepmother. And notice each time I have to press heading, because usually after a heading, it automatically goes back to normal text and the animated movie. Okay, now after I underneath each of my headings, I'm going to give the information. Okay, so we'll say that in, right, I'm going to go up to 12 again. We want to say in many, fairy tales, there is an older woman who is usually mean and ugly, right? And we want to go on and talk about this stereotype of a woman as she gets older and she's ugly, right? And she is always jealous of a younger woman and so on. And this is something, say, I learned from my source. Later, I'm going to show you how to do the citation in the bibliography. Now, under Snow White, I'm going to have a subheading. Okay, wait. I'm going to have a subheading. One is going to be, let's see, her physical attributes. And another subheading, heading 2, is going to be personality. Okay, notice this, this should be heading 1. This is heading 1, and if I click on this, it's heading 2, and this is heading 2. Okay, now under the physical attributes, I'm going to talk about how, beauty is the only thing important to a woman, and so on and so forth. Okay, I'm going to do one change. I'm going to change normal, update to match selection. That way it's going to stay on 12. Personality, we're going to talk about the fact that she is passive and no initiative and all of these things that I learned about her. And when we get to the animated movie, we're going to talk about the fact that Snow White is always seen cleaning up after the dwarves and so on. Now, I'm just giving you a little taste, but of course, each subheading I have here, I'll probably be writing 20 or 30 or 40 words, depending on, which subtopic it is and how much I have to say about it. Because this is really the body of your paper. This is all the information that you have either thought of yourself, but also have taken from at least 3 sources, web sources, articles, and later I'll show you some of the, where I took some of the information from and how to do the citations. So this is like the main body. Hopefully you'll have, the whole paper has to be 750 words. So this part is probably going to have to be something like 500 words, right? Because the introduction maybe was close to 100 words, and the other 2 categories are also going to give you some more words. Another category that you need is the connection between the information and the story. Okay, and in the topic, I'll do this in caps. Information and the story. Right, for you, you're going to have to take the information you learned, like toxic relationships. You're going to relate it to the story, The Way Up to Heaven, or you're going to take modern matchmaking and you're going to relate it to the Magic Barrel and so on. And you're going to write some sort of connection, something like 50 words, hopefully, that you're going to be able to apply and make the connection. And your last section, also I'll put heading, is going to be the personal reaction. Okay, and then you're going to go to a new page, and that page is going to be your wait, I have to make that a heading. Bibliography. Okay, so this is basically your sections. By the way, if you downloaded my template, then in the template you will have the introduction, you'll have subtopic 1, subtopic 2, and it's already formatted for you, and you can just overwrite it and put in your own, you're going to change all of these so that it relates to your topic. Now, one last thing I want to show you how to do is the table of contents. Okay, we go up to the table of contents, and up here you should have references. It's not always open by default, so if you don't have a reference tab, go into File, go to the very bottom where it says Options, and then you'll go to Customize Ribbon. It's here about in the middle. And then on the right side, it says Main Tabs. Make sure that References is clicked. Okay, if References isn't clicked, you won't see it. And you really, really need this Reference tab when you're working in Word. So you'll click that, and then you can, then you'll see it appears here. Okay, so here are your references. Open up References, and here at the very beginning it says Table of Contents. Click on that, and now just do Automatic Table 1. Click, and there you have it. You have your table of contents. Everything that was a heading 1 appears here. These were heading 2, so they appear a little bit indented. Okay, now let's say that I decided I wanted to call it the Disney animated movie. Okay, so I'll go back down here. Oh, I'm sorry. I put it on the bibliography page by accident. So let me go back up here to my table of contents page. That's where I meant to put it. Okay, table of contents. There it is. I don't even need this table of contents anymore. I can delete that because it wrote contents. Now let's say that instead of animated movie, I decided I wanted to call it the Disney animated movie. Okay, now I'll go back up here, and when I click on contents, I get a little box, and it says update table. Okay, right now it says animated movie. Now I'm going to update the table. I'll do the whole table. Okay. Now it says the Disney animated movie. So you can leave the table of contents to the end, but if you make any changes in any of your heading 1 or headings 2, then you can update it. Now, you can do all of this in Google Docs as well. I'm not as familiar with Google Docs, but I'll try to do a clip on Google Docs. And again, you must have these elements. You need the introduction. You need subtopics that are related to the content that you've chosen to learn about. You need a connection between the information and the story. Okay, we learned that the beauty is the most important thing, and we see that in the story, and so on. I'm relating it, and then my personal reaction. The personal reaction can relate not only to the content of your paper, but also to everything you learned about how to do a paper. Okay, I learned about doing bibliographies or whatever, all the different things you learned. It doesn't only have to be about the content, but everything you learn from doing the paper. So that's it for this clip. I'm going to do another clip that deals with citation and bibliography. Now, how do I stop recording?